Steve chooses not to come down the stairs today, T-Rex, so it's just the founding members of Out the Door, Weather, and More with T-Rex and TK today, Monday, August 5th, 8:45 a.m., 76 degrees with the barometer fairly low and steady. Excuse me. me. It appears that I have a rhinovirus. That would be a common cold, a common head cold. I have had coronavirus before, and this does not feel like the coronavirus. So yesterday we were poolside for a while, and I set up the tripod underneath the umbrella to protect it from downpours, and we made a bunch of time-lapse that mostly I'm not going to use. It's a long morning of editing. Excuse me. What a gorgeous Monday. Why can't we have this kind of weather on a Sunday? Well, we often do. Just did not happen this week. It's not like we're all done with the trouble. We're just on break here in southern New England. The temperature map this morning in the 70s. I got it at 7 o'clock instead of 8 o'clock. And the dew point near 70, closer to 70 than 80. Get that going for us. But it still does feel like Florida out here with the dew point in the 70s today. And we're just between waves of energy crossing the nation, pretty much from the Pacific to the Atlantic. So regardless of Hurricane Debby, it would be a very stormy pattern anyway on the battle between new, colder air spreading coast to coast in Canada and pure mid-summertime warmth, heat, and humidity across the United States. The front this morning stretches from about Holton, Maine, kind of dips down a little bit in the Central Plains, then back up to almost Vancouver. Yeah, and waves of energy along this front are going to keep us on our toes until further notice, right into the weekend, and maybe even next week too, and maybe into September. Who knows? Pardon me. A lot of that going to go on today, so the cold is in my head. It's a head cold. Oh, look, someone's taking pictures. What's going on down there? I just see reflections of something. Is that someone adjusting a scrunchie with shiny or those sunglasses? So that person looking right up toward me probably can't even see me because the sun's behind me, and the sun is reflecting right off the glasses, and I can see the sun off the glasses on the kayaker this morning. Gorgeous. Sunburn factor today in southern New England, way up there. Northern New England, a different story though. This front is activating. You can look at the lightning map this morning in the lower right there. That would be Hurricane Debby making landfall this morning. That's the big ticket item. And then you see the sort of waves of lightning from just west of New England all the way back out into the Pacific Northwest. If you look at the map of national advisories, watches, and warnings, there are no heat advisories in the east. All the advisories and warnings are in the southeast. Tornado watch, tornado warning, flash flood watch, flash flood warning, storm surge warning, hurricane warnings have been changed to tropical storm warnings. And then in the west, those are the heat advisories, watches, and warnings for heat out west. It's going to be an increasingly fast flow aloft, and the more air you have moving over your head, the stronger the thunderstorms can be. And even without a fast jet stream, over the last several days, we've had severe weather. Yesterday, not too many reports of severe weather. The storms formed a lot earlier than expected. The HRRR, High Resolution Rapid Refresh Model, had the storms coming into southern New Hampshire around 3 or 4, but instead they were there between 12:30 and 1, and there were some reports of flooding in Manchester and severe storms. Was it Fremont? And my friend Carl and Weir and Ross Budd, we all have this thread of text going back and forth, and Ross is like, I can't even get out of my car, it's raining so hard. Seriously, Ross? I mean, you ski double diamonds and you drive airplanes, you could have got out of your car. But anyhow, we get the point. He said it rained incredibly hard in Bedford, New Hampshire yesterday, and that's going to be the case again today and tomorrow and Wednesday, maybe parts of New England get Thursday off, and then Friday into Saturday. So let's get to it. Start with the HRRR When I say it's going to rain like that, not in the exact same spots. This is just sort of a rough estimate. These things are always wrong by at least an hour or two and at least 20 or 30 miles. So the storms come into Vermont about, say 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and they're gaining traction. The National Severe Storm Prediction Center says these are going to be damaging thunderstorms, and we may end up with a severe weather watch stretching across New York and New Hampshire and into New Hampshire and Maine this afternoon. The storms look really powerful. As the sun goes down, they start to dissipate. Most of them are across Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, but that doesn't rule out northern Massachusetts. The south coast of New England probably has the nicest weather. And then they dissipate, and then tomorrow they form a little further south, and now it looks like Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island have the worst weather tomorrow, and then that kind of fades, and then this HRRR goes out to tomorrow night, another round coming at us for Wednesday morning. So the rainfall amounts in these are going to add up to probably 2 to 4 inches in the heavier showers and thunderstorms. They're going to be moving right along, but you may end up with one and then another and then another. That's called training of thunderstorms. All right, so I was wrong. That was not a kayak. That was a person on a stand-up paddleboard putting on sunglasses and heading off to the east. Now, this is the time you want to do your stand-up paddling before the wind picks up. It's not going to be as windy today, I don't think, in southern New England because we've got much less of a pressure gradient. So wind is not a huge factor. The wind up in the sky is going to be very strong, but we don't have any really deep low pressure systems, and that's kind of an issue too. I mean, the fact that these fronts are just kind of lazy fronts lingering from west to east across the eastern United States, or across most of the United States, there's nothing reaching down to pick up Debby. So now let's transition to Hurricane Debby. Really tough forecast, really tough situation. Catastrophic flooding is going to occur because there's no steering current down there. Debby is just meandering around, doing what in New England I would call the blizzard loop, but let's call it a hurricane loop, as there's an upper level low, and Debby is going to stay tropical and strong. And here is the, let me rewind just a little bit. I was going to show you the forecast, but I want to show you what landfall looked like. And a lot of storm chasers made this, what was it called? Steinhetchee, Florida, in the Bend. It's pretty close to where Idalia went in a year ago. There's the storm going in, and Jonathan Petramala says he was at Bubsey's Bait and Tackle just as the eye came over, and he says the frogs were louder than the storm. So I guess that's good news. The frogs seem fine. So flooding and tornadoes probably the biggest issue today now that the storm is inland. And then what's it going to do? I go to Tropical Tidbits, look at the GEFS, and say, I don't think I like the look of the GFS. Kind of keeps the storm in the southeast for the most part all week. And then the hurricane models, a lot of inconsistency. Many of the hurricane models keep the storm over the southeastern United States, with just a minority bringing it right across southeastern New England by about Friday and Saturday. And so how about the National Hurricane Center forecast? This is the one we should defer to. Look at that cone of uncertainty, the storm kind of looping around and then dissipating as a tropical depression over the mid-Atlantic inland on Saturday. So this is different than even what the Euro says. The Euro, which we've been showing for consistency, still has it coming our way. So let's go to the Euro, and let's go to the day by day. The front is strung out from Maine to Oregon with pulses of energy coming along. First pulse north today. Second pulse, well, actually this is like fourth and fifth if you count from last week, coming across southern New England tomorrow into Wednesday morning. And now you see Debby starting to move in our direction and looking fairly strong. You want to stop it at 18Z on Thursday like we did yesterday? Looks very similar to how it looked yesterday when we stopped the map here, with a high pressure system and nice cool air across northern New England. And yesterday's run had the heavy rain across southern New England at this time. Today it's a little further south. And the storm is, what is it, around 988 or something like that? Still looking hurricane-ish right on the coast out of South Carolina and North Carolina. And then let's put it back in motion. The same old front is stalled here, so it would be raining regardless of whether there was a tropical cyclone coming at us. and that rain lifts back to the north on Friday. Into Saturday, the storm goes over Chesapeake Bay and then crosses very close to Nantucket, still looking quite tropical on Saturday, about 6 hours later than we had it yesterday. And that would compromise all the Saturday afternoon and Saturday night activities in southeastern New England, thinking about the Nantucket fireworks. And the last of that doesn't get out of here until Saturday night, so that's only a 6-hour difference. I like to wait until Wednesday to make the call on a weekend. And then it does not look like a rain next Monday. This is going to be changing, and who really cares really about 7 days from now, really. But more rain and warm air is going to try and come back at us next Tuesday and Wednesday. And if you go to the Boston 14-day on the weather.us, this is the Euro 14-day, and you can see the numbers. The operational numbers are pegged there near 70 in the middle of the week, at the bottom of the ensemble spread. I mean, those spreads, that the shaded area of red and blue is the uncertainty, and you can see the wave after many rainy days with temperatures kind of cool but so sticky you may keep your air conditioning on, going back up late in the weekend, and next week the wave of warmth tries to come back at us. So we are going to get some relief from the heat, just near 90 today, so I think some of us are on about day 5 of a heat wave right now. The song sparrow. Can you hear the song sparrow? A lot of disagreement on the quality of the audio here. It is what it is. Kind of hate that expression, but that's what we defer to a lot. And it is a beautiful blue sky. And guess what I'm going to be doing? Editing for the next 2 hours because of all the time lapse I made yesterday. I'm obsessed with the sky. Oh, and I wanted to show Hartford Bob. I think Hartford Bob should get a shout out for this straight over his head photograph of lightning. He said, yeah, this one made a bit of a noise. I bet it did. Glad it missed you, Hartford Bob. But I appreciate your spirit and sharing, and all of you out there sharing your weather and weather stories. We're a team. We all work together. Where's T-Rex barking over here? Wrapped up. What are you barking at, T-Rex? You think the mailman's up there giving you some treats? Nope, he's not. You're right here. Steve didn't show. We'll talk to you tomorrow. 2:20 in the afternoon. I wasn't even paying attention to the radar. I knew there was flooding in southern New Hampshire, but I didn't realize how close it was. Wow, I just looked out the window and all of a sudden there's this downpour coming through. Sun, shower, it is raining intense over there. And so much for that boating and beaching. This is about 2 hours early compared to where the HRRR had it. 3 hours. Like I said, you can't rely on those verbatim. Just some guidance. Should we try and keep the cushion dry? Rex is like gone. Yeah, not in a hurry Sunday. I'm enjoying the Olympics. The rain that just popped up over Weymouth just popped up. There's another line to our north. I wonder if this will stabilize the atmosphere. But boy, it just came out of nowhere. I wasn't paying attention. Can't take your eye off the ball for a second. Looks like very little on radar compared to what's in New Hampshire, doesn't it? Green grass in August. Looks like snow. It was only 5 minutes. And I just looked at the radar. That shower did not even exist 20 minutes ago. And I wonder how many people were down on the beach. It was probably packed. I mean, there was no warning from that on the radar or from anything, or maybe some app somewhere. There it is. That's the downpour. That first front, that rain came out of nowhere. Well, that first shower. It cooled off a little. Now this one that just went through Logan Airport dropped the temperature from 88 degrees at 3 p.m. to 73 degrees. Here we are just past 4 p.m. Gorgeous sky. Got a couple people down there in the water. Almost freezing outside, relatively speaking. Colder out than it is in right now. The general shower motion is from left to right about 20 miles an hour. That's from west southwest to east northeast, but the whole line is pressing to the south. So shall we make a time lapse of this thing pressing in from the south, see what happens? Yes, we should. Starting now.
Okay, that was a half-hour time lapse. A shower just went through Logan Airport and dropped a quick 0.1. Temperature's holding at 72 degrees at Logan. And we get some massive raindrops that just landed here. Just a few of them, but look at them. The 1.5-inch diameter splat. And the next shower, thunderstorm, is way upstream over Dedham, or west of Dedham. So I'm gonna give this a break and we'll try and get that one coming in. Those are the splats. Look at them, 1, 2, 3, 4. Massive. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Massive raindrops out of that cloud that just went by and blew out of the top of it. The top's over 22,000 feet. So that downpour that came out of nowhere at 2:30 didn't even exist at 2 o'clock. 0.2 of an inch of rain. Oh, and while we're out here, critters did start eating my tomatoes while I was away. So we're gonna have to pick them before they're ready again. Maybe the tallest ones will get away with not having to pick. 4:20. I'm gonna put the umbrella up and make a time lapse facing west this time. That last one faced north. We watched them go by. Now let's see if we can't get one coming in. Let's see if the umbrella doesn't blow away. Maybe we won't clog the microphones with raindrops using this method. I'll get your boat in there, Leif. Just so we can watch it. Pointed towards the north now. The boat, that is. Camera's pointed towards the west-northwest. Boston's on the very right edge. You can't quite see it though. On the left edge is the incoming downpour. Let it roll. That was a half hour. I'll let it keep rolling. Pushing 5 o'clock. Watching the Olympics, pretty fun. Congratulations, men's field and track, fastest man on earth, 100-meter, gold, 0.28. So we get another 0.08 from that little downpour that didn't look that good from where I was sitting anyway. There are more incoming, so we're not done for the day. And the ladies volleyball, beach volleyball below the Eiffel Tower. US and Italy tied 2 sets apiece in the final 8, I think. "42 minutes now. USA ladies just advanced to the quarterfinals. That was edge of the seat viewing. Beach volleyball below the Eiffel Tower. That was really fun. Turning the tent around, or the umbrella around. I'm going to turn the camera around too, because I think it's more fun a little bit watching them depart. Maybe we get the sun to come back out, and we'll just keep this going. Let's keep the party rolling. If there is a rainbow, it would be on the far right, but not for a few hours. Anyhow, the back of the clouds have looked more fun than the front of the clouds, so we're seeing them depart now. Let's watch that water a little bit more. Fresh water is less dense than salt water, so the fresh water actually floats on top of the salt. That's what you see there, those slicks. I don't know. Oh, thunder. I was just about to say, I don't know if it was worth it, all this rolling of all this video, all this editing I'm going to have to do, and it didn't look that cool, but that was the first lightning I've heard. The heaviest rain is now over Connecticut, new round of severe storms in Vermont. And it got really sticky again. I opened my windows and turned off the AC, but it just got so sticky again. So we did not break the heat, other than just very short term. More rounds of showers and storms anyhow. We got up to 0.43, and we're not quite done for the day. So I'm gonna put this back in its gauge, give you a little look around. Light wind from the east right now. And some thunder nearby. Heavier rain is over Situate and going offshore as far as southern New England, well, southeastern Massachusetts. Connecticut still has some very heavy rain coming at us. And I think this is the top blowing off of that storm coming out of Connecticut, actually blowing all the way up into Massachusetts. Yeah, it says 74, but it is a sultry 74. You want to go out there, Steve? You were pretty hesitant this morning. I'll take that as an affirmative. Nope, second guessing. Always second guessing. Good weather cat. Just walked into the door because I thought it was getting quiet. Come in and look at the radar. Look at this just blossoming right over us. Didn't exist, boom. Didn't exist, boom. Thunderstorm. We're having constant thunder all of a sudden. Reminds me of that storm 3 weeks ago that went over. Just heard it, just saw it. 1001, 1002. Gotta count real slow. 3, 4, 5. Is that the right way to count how far lightning is? I got corrected. Anyhow, 3 weeks ago, we had a storm that went over Weymouth and then expanded over Hingham and then stalled over Cohasset with the back building. And it seems like that's what's happening right now with frequent lightning. No rain. It's electric. Can't have lightning without a freezing level up around 16, 17,000 feet. Dual cam shot for the sunset. My camera's down there making a time lapse. The sun just came under the cloud and it's raining, so that almost guarantees we have a rainbow. Let's go out and check. 7 o'clock, started to rain again. We've had more than 140 lightning strikes within 30 miles. The Tempest graphic here shows that since 4 o'clock. Between 6 and 7 o'clock, we had several within 5 miles. That's pretty cool. Tempest weather system. Somebody asked me, is it worth it? Yeah, it is, just because it talks to all the other tempests and it can calculate where and how much lightning there is. So the sun goes down now at 7:59. We're done with sunlight past 8 p.m. 74 degrees at 7:35. Out the door, very drippy, very beautiful. We talked about the differential density of fresh water and salt water. Still have some thunder. The magic of differential density of water and the magic of the metric system is that 1 cubic centimeter of pure water weighs 1 gram. 1 cubic centimeter of salt water in the ocean weighs 1.03 grams. So fresh water floats on top of salt water because it's less dense. All right, so it's pouring, not pouring, but raining pretty good. There's my time lapse going right there. Do we have a rainbow? If we don't, we will. We do, and it's gonna get better. I did not see the rainbow before I came outside. I just know. So what is a rainbow? And we get a double forming, by the way. Essentially, it's a disk of bright light formed by sunlight entering raindrops. Each individual raindrop, the light goes in. As it goes in, it bends. That's called refraction. Hits the back of the raindrop, reflects, and then comes back out through the front of the raindrop, back toward our eye with another refraction. So it's a refraction, reflection, refraction. It separates the colors because, as we talked about recently, red is slower than green, so it bends more. And as the sun gets lower behind the cloud, the rainbow will get higher. So I guess this time lapse paid off. You gotta roll a lot of video to get the prize. Thank you, Thor, God of Thunder, for acknowledging. Last I checked, we're passing I can't remember, 200 lightning bolts in the last few hours.